Welcome to Lock and Key, the show where we unlock the keys that drive success. I'm your host, Lauren Bates. Here, we sit down with bold thinkers, trendsetters, and industry influencers to reveal the principles that open their doors: business, creativity, resilience, legacy, victory. This is where real stories meet real strategy, and nothing stays locked for long. This is Lock and Key. All right, everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Lock and Key, where we unlock success stories in entertainment, business, and beyond. I'm your host, Lauren Bates, and today I'm sitting down with someone who's been walking this journey beside me, not only as a professional, but as a brother in purpose. He's the founder and CEO and president of Atia RV, one of the most forward thinking names and businesses in the RV industry. With over 27 years of manufacturing and business experience, Nick has built more than a company. He's built a calling. And today, on this conversation, we're going to talk about what it takes to lead with faith, to build from the ground up, and to stand firm, especially when life tries to shake the foundation. We're picking up with my man, Iva, quote Nick Nicholas, the CEO and owner of Atia RV. He is the only minority RV manufacturer in this nation. Everybody, give it up.
Thank you. Glad to be back with Lauren, with you and your listeners, and hope that the information I give to you guys tonight is beneficial to at least one person.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when you come on the show, you definitely drop gems. I think it's crucial that we have someone of your stature out here representing on the RV manufacturing side as a man of color and as a CEO. Those are three posts that I think are detrimental to our listeners, and I know that they're going to pick up a lot of gems through this exchange. And you know how we do. I'd love to just jump right into this because we can go on and on. We've got a lot of background. We talk spirituals, we talk family, we talk business, and I know time is of the essence, and so I'll just jump right into it. Um, could you please let us know? So, Atia RV, where does your business fall within the ecosystem of the RV industry? I mean, I know folks may or may not be familiar with the term OEM, which is that's original equipment
Uh,
manufacturers. Am I correct?
correct,
Okay.
correct.
So where do you fall in the ecosystem? Are you an OEM? Are you a retail company? Do you fall somewhere in between?
No, we're OEM. We produce the unit from the ground up. We get stuff from suppliers, which everybody does. We get parts and different components from different manufacturers, and through our CAD design system and floor plan layout, we take these parts and we just assemble them together, kind of like a puzzle. Uh, and that's how it works for every RV manufacturer and that produces an RV.
Okay, okay. So for those who aren't really familiar how the entire supply chain works, could you give us just a quick breakdown of, the process, from start to finish? So you're at the OEM. These are where the RVs are actually built, they're manufactured. So you start with what we would call the chassis, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So
And take
you
it from
start
there.
you start with an order, of course, but then the chassis is the first part of it, and then from the chassis, you're putting on your axles, your tires, you're putting on running your gas lines, your LP lines, any, and then I'm talking overall here, but any wiring that you may have to, water lines if you have to. So you basically get all the undercarriage part of the RV assembled, and then once it moves down another line, and different manufacturers have it set up maybe a little different, but not too far. Then you put your floor on it. Again, your floor would be made up of plywood and two by twos or one by twos or two by threes. It depends what trailer, what floor plan. and also may have insulation in there, also may have wiring and pipes and different things running through there as well. But that's just your main floor for everything. And then it moves down to the next station, and they put on the sidewalls, the fronts and backs. And then they're putting on the interior. All the interior cabinetry will go on then your plumbing. They do plumbing, and then from plumbing it moves to wiring, where to wire the whole nervous system of the RV. Then it'll move to, it depends. Let's say they have slide outs, then it'll probably move to a slide out step there, or if not a slide out, then it just moves to the next step, which would be your metal department. So you put on your fiberglass or your metal, or your rubber roof and those type of thing, and then it goes to the final finish department, where they put on all your windows, cabinet doors, and all your interior finishes, your exterior finishes as well. They put all that on there, and time it gets up to final and all that's done, then you hit the QC department, your quality control, and they test all the systems to try to find out if there's anything that's not working, or if it's working, it's fine. If it's not working, then they have someone come and fix it, and that's where the unit is clear for shipping.
Okay. Okay, that's very enlightening. I've often wondered what the entire process was, just now getting into the RV industry, and it's amazing to see these come together. How long does it take, or now does this vary between different manufacturers, but like what's the average time spent putting together like one trailer?
It depends, no more than a week. Some people from start to finish can have it done in 2 or 3 days,
Wow.
and some people up to a week. Some people even more. If you get more into the really expensive motor homes, some of those can take 18 months
Jeez,
to build.
that's a
So,
custom type build we're talking now.
but it's a custom. So the more custom built your RV is, the longer it will take, because it's not what we call a production or a dealer stock type of inventory, where they just build 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 of them, right, one after the other. It has a lot of custom elements to it, then it just takes a little longer for it to be completed.
I see. I see. Okay. Um, and so, being on the manufacturing side, how important is it for you to cultivate relationships with retailers? How do you go about, consolidating these relationships, and how are orders potentially derived and executed, without dipping into your secret sauce. I mean, I'm not asking what your definitive business plan is, but just from an overall industry ecosystem systemic um, pattern. How are you able to make this happen?
There are two business models that the industry follows, and the one to which we follow is a direct to consumer at this point in our business, but we want to build that where we go out and do the other model, which is dealers. There's over like 4,500 dealers between United States and Canada. And so the dealer would order a unit from a manufacturer. Okay, the manufacturer builds this unit to the dealer specs, whatever options they want on it. Then once the unit gets ordered and built and then cleared for shipping, then it goes to the dealer, and then it's up to the dealer to do their part and advertise and try to draw the end consumer in. In a TRV, we want to push to do that a little different, take some of that off the dealer's plate, because the dealer has probably 10, 15, 20 different brands they're trying to promote and sell on their lot. But
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Coca-Cola will do, kind of like Ford Motor Company would do, or Mercedes or BMW. These guys go out there and they actually do a lot of the advertising as the manufacturer. But then when the customer wants to look at or purchase a unit, then to find a dealer that's closest to their zip code. So
I
that's kind of
see.
that's kind of our push, how we do it now, and that's how we'll do it even when we start building our dealer network.
Okay, okay. Fascinating. And okay, so what your job is as being the CEO of a manufacturing company is that your job at the end of the day is to foster the relationships with dealers and to make yourself a known presence, say at like RV expos and things of that nature, so your name is
Mhm.
out there, ringing bells, staying top of mind and so forth. And then
Yeah, and that's huge. That's what any business. It don't matter what business you do. At the end of the day, we're all in the customer service business. We
mm-hmm.
want to service that customer. Um, so even in our setup, for instance, doing a lot of the bulk of our business now is direct to consumer. So when they contact us, I'm usually the one that's talking to them, since I'm the one that knows the product really, really extremely well. But my idea is to work myself out of that position and hand that over to a person or a team, eventually, where so you can grow. No one man can grow anything by himself. He can't grow a house by himself. He can't grow a family by himself. He can't grow a business by himself. He can't grow a religion by himself. So
Amen. Preach,
all these
brother. Here we
things,
go.
all these things take it takes more than one person. I always tell people, even Jesus had 12 disciples,
That's right. Amen.
right? So Jesus couldn't have done it by himself, and now those 12 disciples turned into millions of disciples throughout mankind. So
I
this, the truth
got
is the
you.
same. The truth is the same in business. So if you want to be known, or if you want to be known or heard of or have the loudest voice, you have to have many people doing it for you instead of one.
I understand. That's the big takeaway right there. Another
Hmm.
gem dropped. Now, speaking of that, you said you're in a customer service based business. I mean, we both are. And every dealership or every manufacturer, they're always going to say that they're the best or they have great service or they're excellent when it comes
Hmm.
to this or this and that. And I've seen how you operate, firsthand. So, what makes your approach different? What makes a TRV stand out from the competitors?
You made a great talking point there, that everybody says they're the best at this, they're the best at that. Most of the companies that are really good at what they do, you never really hear from them. You just kind of experience the fact that they are the best at what they do. As an example, you would never see a Ferrari or Lamborghini advertisement on TV.
That's very
you
true.
you don't have to see a Bentley or a Rolls Royce advertisement on TV. You don't have to see a yacht or private planes or different things like that. Not going outside of the scope of price point, but the reason you don't is because these people are known for that. That's why they can charge what they charge, and people already know that in the mind of the marketplace, the consumer already know that. So if somebody's screaming to you like, "Ah, we're good, we're number one," like Coca-Cola would do something like that. They
Hmm.
scream a lot. Every place, I mean, but the reason they do it is to keep themselves as the number one beverage of choice in the consumer's mind, because there's so many options out there.
Yes, they have to stay relevant. They have to stay
Yeah.
top of mind. And like you said, the Porsche or the Lamborghinis of the world or the Rolexes, they don't have to rely on that because they've already got a built-in reputation for luxury and high quality products.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when you get that high up, you're targeting a specific audience, and it's kind of like if you know, if that makes sense.
Right. So the way we go about doing it is, like I said, I mean, we're humans. There's still humans that ultimately build these RVs. We'll still have issues. Nobody else would admit that, but I think it's key to admit that, yeah, you run into issues every now and again. You run into a customer that may not be satisfied every now and again. Is what you do when that happens. To what degree, what length would you go to resolve these issues? And and so when we get in the person's mind, we realize we're small, we're minority owned, we are, we got like these check marks that are against us per se, but those check marks are usually for us because it should help us to stand out. It should help us to, like an example, you hear a lot of RV companies will talk about, man, we're building a state of the art customer service building.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
customer service is going to be, a lot of companies do that. Whenever companies starts talking about, we're going to focus on customer service, it's kind of like a man and a woman being married, and they're saying we're going to focus on counseling and therapy. Well, if the marriage if the marriage was good to begin with, therapy wouldn't be necessary. If customer service was good to begin with, you wouldn't need to boast and brag about how you're going to go out and do customer service and do this and do all this stuff.
Facts.
So a lot of it is, I mean, plainly put down. I mean, and this is biblical. Just treat people the way you want to be treated, and if you
Okay.
do that, everything will pan out just right.
I love how you frame that. And I think that is one of the ways that you are separating yourself. Now, again, I have to stay completely unbiased because I'm now in the industry, right? So I never want to look
Right.
like I'm playing sides or I'm playing favorites or anything like that. But that's a big takeaway right there. And I've noticed there's been a globalization or um, the way that the RV business has been trending. Businesses get swallowed up. They're starting to conglomerate and things of that nature. So I think that's a huge um, point of differentiation for you in
Mhm.
regards to saying, hey, you know what, this is what makes us a little different. I like that.
Well, it's one of those things there too. I think the industry is trying to become more like the automotive industry, where you have, the big three car manufacturers, predominantly, the Ford, GM, and what's the other one? Dodge or Chevy or whatever the
Dodge or
big three
Chrysler.
is, Chrysler.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then from there, this is prior to COVID, or prior to the 08, 09 financial collapse there, where you had all these mom and pop, pretty much car dealers. You still had some big multi-purpose, multi-lot dealerships, but the mom and pop dominated. Now the car dealerships are mainly dominated by corporate companies who may have under their umbrella, anywhere from 200 to 600 to 700 dealerships. So what that does, that's good for them, but it's not necessarily always beneficial for the consumer. The RV world is starting to adapt some of that, where right now we do have three big builders, multi-billion dollar companies, and then you have small companies out there that do what they do, do it well. And now you have on the dealer side, now you have these big conglomerate companies who are they're publicly traded. That's the other thing. So if, and not talking against any one of those, but if a consumer would just educate themselves, like, is this a private dealer or is this a publicly traded company? The reason I say that is because with a private dealer, you'll get better pricing. With a publicly traded company, they're only working the best interest of their shareholders.
That's an incredible perspective right there. I never really looked at it from that standpoint. That's really enlightening right there. And
Mhm.
so, and I like to pivot in regards to that challenge from your vantage point. What are the biggest challenges that RV manufacturers are dealing with today? Or did you already answer that?
No, no, that's a great question. The biggest challenge is, of course, with President Trump. He's in office now, and I try not to like kind of date these type of conversations, but it is the current situation. And then when he throws a tariff and a tariff here and a tariff and a tariff and a tariff, that might be good overall for the country. But us in the RV world, it's kind of terrible because the component cost goes through the roof. And it's like every month you're getting a price increase. Well, if we're getting a price increase from our suppliers, which are getting a price increase from their supplier,
Who
then
does
we
this
put
roll
this
down
in,
to? Right.
it rolls on to the consumer. So now the
Right.
consumer can't, afford, these RVs anymore because it's just gotten expensive. Well, their pay hasn't changed. Their pay haven't increased. Um, so it makes it, but this is true not just with RVs, it's true with cars, it's true with jet skis and motorcycles, and with boats, it's true with everything.
Any type
So
of, well, and particularly luxury products.
recreational vehicles, anything
Yes.
that's recreational.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
although although a car is pretty mandatory anymore, but so I think that's one of the big challenges that we face. Um, and I mean there are others. There is the interest rates. There's that. Consumers are facing dealing with that. So, but we've always faced certain challenges and always have overcome them. We're a very small industry in comparison to some of the others that are very gigantuan. Like the automotive industry is very huge. We're as an industry, as far as manufacturing, we're probably at 20 billion or 20 to 25 billion, somewhere around there. And you think that's a lot, but
Right.
in retrospect, is nothing. It's really nothing when you compare it to Tesla, one car company who has you know, who has a valuation of $1 trillion plus. So it's
Indeed.
we're still very small. We still serve a small portion of the population, a tenth of 1%. That's my tagline. I'm like the only guy that used that and sees that. But out of 350 million Americans, we only really truly, if we want to center a number, we only build 350,000 RV, which is a tenth of 1% of the general population. So we got room to grow. We got to change some things to make that happen, of course.
Okay, okay. Now that's a really big key takeaway right there, and I'd like to segue. And you started to hit on it already, and I love how this conversation is really growing organically, by the way. But as we pivot over to the consumers, I'd love to talk to you about your expertise in. I don't want to use the word targeting consumers, but maybe attracting would be, a better term for the family or couples. Let's say they're buying their very first RV, right? In your opinion, what's the smartest way to choose a unit? This is, I'm coming out, and I know the audience, the buyer is going to be specific based on if they're a retired couple or
Right, right,
if they're a family. But let's just say it's me, right? And I've always wanted to take my son camping, but I don't know anything about any of these units. Whether I just want a 13 footer, I want something that's going to be 22 or 26 feet. Um, I don't have a truck, so would it be smart to even look at fifth wheels? If I have the money, do I go at what from your vantage point? What's the smart way to go about this?
Well, one of the smart ways I do believe people should go about this is to find out your camping DNA. Now, again, that's a term that I coin here, camping DNA.
Trademark,
And
brother.
it's, yeah, I got to get on that real quick so somebody else don't take it.
You got that right.
Too
Go
much of my
ahead.
stuff has already been taken, so I need to get busy with that. But find your camping DNA. What do I mean by that? Well, what are you going to do? How often are you going to go camping? Are you going to go camping 3 times a year, or are you going camping every month? Are you going camping for a weekend, or are you going camping for a week or two at a time? So that's the first thing I would decide. Number two, and none of these are in specific orders, but number
Hmm.
two, what's your budget? Because you can buy an RV for in the teens, or you can pay, $2 million for an RV. You literally can. So what are you trying to do? Um, one of the big place where we stand out is, do you live in an HOA? If you live in an HOA, you know you gotta keep in mind, well, if I get whatever RV I get, I won't be able to park it in my HOA, so I'll have to find somewhere else to park it. Well, that's an additional cost.
Okay,
Uh,
let's pause right there
mhm.
before you continue. Can you break
Yeah,
down that term for us, please? HOA.
that's homeowners association. So
Okay.
a lot of the modern, even older ones, but more modern neighborhoods that are being built, what's happening there is they have all these bylaws. I mean, you can only have your house can only be a certain color, a certain square footage. I mean, just all these kind of weird, goofy bylaws, and you pay every month for somebody basically to sit down and make sure that these bylaws are being um, enacted. Well,
Okay.
and I get the whole idea there because their home is an investment, which a home is not really an investment. That's another conversation, but in their eyes, their home is an investment. So they want to keep the perceived value of their house up and climbing.
Meaning
Versus
you don't want to have a big, huge RV parked in, on the side in the grass, which makes the neighborhood look or, a certain way.
trashy or ghetto, or well, ghetto is not a good term because you don't see that in the ghetto anyways. But
Right. Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean.
that's true.
And I've been to neighborhoods where I see a pop up camper on cinder blocks, but I go right around the corner and here's a nice house with a Class A motorhome. you
They
know,
don't want their
so
property value to go down. That's what you're saying.
right,
I
right.
got you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They
Mm-hmm.
want to maintain it or increase it. So, well, our product stands alone by itself because you can park our product inside your garage and you can have it in your garage. It'll save you money on maintenance costs. You can use it as extra sleeping area if friends or family come over. So it doesn't, you save money. That way you don't have to take it to a storage facility and spend, from who knows, 100 on plus dollars per month or per week to have it stored there over the winter. You don't have the elements, the weather elements, the snow, the rain, all this harsh stuff to break down the RV and create maintenance costs. So you you you
Okay.
you keep
So
your toy, you protect your toy, and therefore the value of your toy remains a little higher.
understood. Okay. And so now we're pinpointing the benefits of the Atia garageable. Did I get that phrase right?
Correct.
Bam. Okay. Okay. Now, what are some other benefits to the garageable?
Well, the other benefit to it is it's lightweight. So if it's light, our heaviest unit is like 2,600 pounds. So if it's light, that means you don't have to go out and buy a brand new tow vehicle. So if you have a tow vehicle that has like a 3,500 pound tow rating, you
Mm-hmm.
can pull any of our units. So that's number one. Like, as I mentioned before, you can have it customizable. You can customize this thing. You can change this, add this, take away that. You can customize it so you are getting exactly what you really want and not just what somebody thinks you want, which the other builders do that. They just build something they think people are going to like and hope that they're going to like it. So there's that. The cost, you save money on fuel because of the lightweight nature and the aerodynamic build of it. Your Atia RV is doesn't sit any higher than a pickup truck or SUV. So the wind, there's no wind drag, so it just goes right over the top, and now you have more of uh, a streamlined product that you're pulling. So you save
Incredible.
money. You save money on gas. I think to pull one, you probably decrease your gas usage. I think about 15%, which most RVs can run up there from 30 to 50%. So so we're really good in that department. Um, some of the other things that we do different, we're known for, and I think I'm trying to remember what all I said here, but costs.
Mm-hmm.
You can get into this for less than $30,000. Uh, that's highly unusual in today's marketplace.
Yeah,
Most
I was gonna
RVs,
say that's a really good price point. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah, most RVs are 30,000 on up. So by us keeping the price point down beneath the $30,000 price point, people can afford it.
It's budget
You know,
friendly to your average
right,
family.
right, right. Um, so and we probably have some more. I mean, we do some things that are pretty innovative with technology and stuff like that. And it's the first product of probably many to be launched with a TRV, but it's a unique product that only we produce and nobody else does.
That is
At least
fantastic.
not
And
to this juncture.
And so for anyone in the country that would love to own a garageable, what's the best way to reach out to get more information or to actually, purchase one? Is it via website or are you yeah, what's the best way to get a hold of one of these?
Oh, they can do it several different ways. They can go to our website and email us from our website. Our number, my phone number actually is on the website. So if you call the number that's on the website, that comes directly to my phone. Which again is one of those things people are like amazed by that they're talking to a CEO of a company
That's
instead
different.
of instead of us now while we're as small as we are, I can do that, but obviously as we grow that would have to change.
Of course.
So the people that had my number in the beginning, I guess they'll be lucky that way.
Yeah,
but but
absolutely. It kind of gives
but
folks, a little bit of, give them some initiative to reach out to you now. They'll be able to, get that firsthand, familiar customer service approach, if you will.
so I mean a lot of it is just simply boils down is I want to know the consumer. I want to know what they're thinking. The dealers typically tell us what the consumers are thinking. Um, but I want to know directly what the consumer is thinking. What do they like? What don't they like? I mean, what's they don't. I mean, you want them to be a part of the process, and everybody loves being a part of the process. That's why you see like restaurants like Blackstone. They would bring the food out, and you can cook your own food.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
you know, pe-
absolutely.
there are people that love to be a part of the process, and some people don't want to be, and that's fine. I mean, we'll get to that point there one day too, where we won't have, and I think we'll always do customizable stuff, but it won't be because it won't be like a big part of the business. Because if you want to mass produce more and want to grow your business more, you'll have to minimize some of that.
Right, right. Well, I also think it's very advantageous to you, from a business standpoint. You're able to cultivate and establish, data points. From a
Hmm.
psychographic standpoint. You're
Hmm.
understanding the buyer in true form, firsthand.
Hmm. And a lot of, I mean, there are companies that really focus on that. You see a lot of the social media companies really focus on consumer behavior. What are they doing? How are they doing it? What do they like? What don't they like? So a lot of your social media companies are very good at that. Um, a lot of high-end cars are very good at that. What people like, what they don't like, is when you get in the middle of the pack, kind of like the RV industry and the automotive industry, the big three in America. Um, we don't have a very good grasp on what customers like. We build what we think customers want.
Mm, that's heavy. And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think from the consumer side, a lot of it comes from word of mouth based on how
Hmm.
they've been treated, whatever their customer
Hmm.
service situation had taken them through. And I think that that's a big factor as to how consumers choose their RVs and which companies they prefer to align themselves with. So let me ask you, from your perspective, how important is trust during the RV buying process? I mean, you've been on both sides of the game clearly. So from a sales perspective, how do you incorporate or how do you manage trust during this process?
Well, the trust factor is a huge factor. And while some companies do it better than others, um, I think we all can fall short a little bit of that. There's no one perfect company when it comes to that. But like I said, I think when the people at the top is all messaging, I always try to say it's one team, one voice, one message. Uh, but it starts with the person on top, and if they work hard to be trustworthy, and even if they fall from the grace of trustworthy, just make it right. Make it right sooner the better. I mean, just make it right. Um, but it is one of those things that the end consumer is so inundating with so much product. It
Yeah.
don't matter what product it is. There's so much choices to choose from. So I'll say this as well. I don't think a lot of people, I mean, they'll say, yes, I do, I do, I do. But at the end of the day, if they need toilet paper really bad, they just buy toilet paper. They don't
Right.
go, well, I trust this brand over this brand. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But I think with the RVs, we've come a long way because there are some brands out there that people just didn't trust them, or the brands did wrong by the people, like they wouldn't fix stuff that's in warranty, or even if the customer calls in a month before the warranty extended, and they should have make a note because they won't be able to get to a service center in about 4 months. And then the customer, it's that kind of thing. So, just, I guess, do what you're going to say you're going to do, and all will be well. But you will fall from grace, but just try to make it up.
I love how you frame that. That's a very grounded way of explaining that. And so please enlighten me here with this one. From a personalized perspective, right? And you've been on both sides of the game. I know you've got a million stories in regards to consumers and purchasing these luxury units. Could you just share with us, one story, that best illustrates, how you have gone above and beyond for like one of your customers? Do you have you've got a good story for us?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I have several of those kind of stories. Well, I got some customers there in Columbus, Ohio. And there's this one particular gentleman, he's an architectural engineer. So those people can be challenging to bill for, because they think an RV should be like whatever they're architecturally designing, a building, skyscraper, whatever they're designing. They think it should be kind of the same. And RVs are not that. They're products, they move, they shift, they go through rough roads, they all kinds of stuff. But anyways, he wasn't really happy, and now I wasn't aware at the time that he was a first timer, so that also added some complications to what was going on. But I drove myself personally, drove down there, pick up the unit, had him give me a list of stuff to look at, and fixed everything, to like he wanted to remove his tub, which I highly said, hey, you probably don't want to
Wow.
do that, because, he said, well, I don't use it. I said, well, yeah, but if you, at some point in time, I don't have that much ego. I mean, in business, you got to have some kind of an ego, but I don't have that much ego to think you're going to buy this RV and hold on to it for all the days of your life. You might want to sell it at some point in time, and that next person is going to want a tub. Well,
Absolutely.
he insisted on not having a tub. He wanted his LP tanks to move from the front of the unit back to where the tub is, and so we had to take that and kind of fit that and cut it and make it look like a roll out the production line. And we did a very good job of that. The team did a very good job of that. So as we took the unit back down to him, and we kind of, showed him everything we did, and like, because I mean, he really did a number in this unit, and some of the stuff should have been stuff that he should have paid for, but we just fixed it anyways. And so another customer called when I was down there, because I think he's on the west side of Columbus, and
Hmm.
the other customer is kind of like on the east side, northeast side of Columbus, and they're like, yeah, what was it? They had, I think it was their jacks, and the roof needed caulk or something, and they were older couple.
Sure.
So I said, well, I'm almost done here, so I'll swing over there. And when I swing over there, and I did all the stuff, fix the jacks, recaulk the roof, make sure that it's nice and caulk and everything is sealed. And it got done, and they ordered a pizza and brought out some beer, and we sat down and had pizza and beer and had a great laugh and came back home. So and they absolutely love that, and they're like, we never experienced anything like this, where the guy will come down and like fix stuff. I know you know how to fix it, you know how to build it, you know how to fix it, you care. um
Sure.
they
You
said, man, you can stay at our house anytime.
Yeah, what my takeaway from that is something that you did that's almost unheard of in the business. You
Yeah.
humanized the experience. You made it
Yes.
very personable, and that type of story. And I can only imagine what they're saying about you right now. But I'm sure your name is ringing bells in the Columbus, and maybe even nationally, just from a reputation standpoint. Like, wow, Iva came out here himself. He didn't send some technician. He didn't send some marketing guy that was going to throw, all these marketing terms and lingo at him and get him lost in the sauce.
Hmm.
No, he took it upon himself to come on out there. So what that tells me is that Ativa, your brand essence is, hey, we care and we want to
Yeah.
do whatever we can to make things right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's other stories. There's another guy we went out to. Well, I went out, not we, but I went out to two others. But this guy was in San Francisco, and he wanted some different motors that we were using. He wanted the stronger one, and changing those motors out are not really fun. But I went out and changed it out. We sat down, we ate. He wanted me to spend the night, and just like was kind of disappointed that I didn't. But um, if I guess if I always look at leadership this way, I can't tell somebody to do something I'm not willing to do myself. If I'm willing to
Absolutely.
send, if I'm willing to send a team member out to fix this, I better be willing to go out myself and fix it. That's number one. Number two, I always envision these. I mean, I don't pocket watch, um, but these people they decided to spend their money on an ATIA RV product. I mean, that puts it in a whole nother perspective.
Absolutely.
I think this is where
It,
businesses lose perspective, because we have so many choices, but they choose us.
Now that's the kind of gem that we want to capture right here on this platform. I couldn't have you couldn't have said that any other way. That was um, magnificent the way that you dropped that. I think we captured the real essence of what not only you but what Atia RV stands for, from a reputation standpoint, from a humanizing customer care aspect as well. And I think that we all could take a page out of your book on how to deliver better customer service to our customers, how to foster the relationships between our customers from A to Z and beyond. Um, and it's all, I think it's just about fostering the right communication, leading with example, and showing and exuding excellence with what you
Right.
do, and that lands a lot different from a lot of the other philosophies that may be floating around in this business. And I've
Mhm.
got one last question for you, just for this go round, because you and I, we're going to be taking this show on the road. We're going to be launching something. It's already in the works, and I want to keep that under wraps for right now. We're gonna surprise them in a little
Sure.
bit, but from a legacy standpoint, right? Where do you see your legacy landing in the RV industry?
Initially when I started this whole process, um, and I paused there for a second, because initially when I started it, I wanted to like just own my own company type of thing, because I think I'm driven and built for that. Uh, but as I got a little older, maybe wiser, I said, well, anybody can build an RV, really. I mean, so whoop de doodly doo, you started your own RV company. Anybody can do that. And as my walk with God got closer and closer, and forever is getting closer. So no matter what I go through, all it does is it pulls me closer to God, and so it redefines life, it redefines purpose. And so I decided I want to have an impact, a positive impact in the industry, as I want to have a positive impact in my family or in marriage or in my community or in the kingdom. I just want to have a positive impact. um, Never want to be one of those guys or individuals that took their dreams to the grave with them. That's the biggest disservice that one can do to humankind and God, is to take what God has put in you and take it to the grave. And so you want to have an impact that says, okay, that company might not be the biggest, but their heart is bigger than the biggest company. The way they go about caring for people, the way they don't give you a lot of lip service, you just watch their fruits. You
Yes,
just watch their fruits. You can tell that the power of a tree by the fruits it bears. There are trees that hardly bear fruits, and well, they're in poor soil. They don't get fertilized. They don't do this. But the trees that bear fruits year after year, they grow out of the most awful, hardest conditions. But for some odd reason, God has blessed it.
that is that is fantastic. I love how you're able to connect truth and wisdom with faith, and I think that's going to make you an unstoppable force in this business. And I'd love to do or offer the shameless plug portion of the episode. So for everyone out there listening, give us the rundown, give us the vitals on Atia RV. Where can they go online to check out all of your wonderful products? How can they purchase from you? All that good stuff. Run it down for us, sir.
Well, you can contact us on you go to www.com, or not .com, www.itea-rv.com. That'll be our website. You can see our products there. You can also see us on Facebook. Facebook, I think it's Facebook /ITEA-RV. Instagram, same thing. Also on, what's the other one? TikTok, the same thing.
Okay.
And you can reach us from any one of those platforms through email, phone call, or direct message. As we grow and get team members aboard, we'll have even a specific person to deal with all that. Um, because communication is important, and we want to make sure we stay on top of it.
Wonderful. I think this has been an enlightening episode right here. I'm pretty sure folks have gotten, even though they probably drunk from a fire hose tonight, but the information that you have dropped, I think has been, seriously a real educational experience from the manufacturer side, from a customer care perspective, all the way down to consumers, how they buy and what to look for. And I'm really looking forward to having you back on. Looking forward to launch what we're going to be doing pretty soon as we, extend this vision in regards to buyers and RVs just in general. And that's the big takeaway right there. It's been a wonderful
Mhm.
experience having you on here. And kudos to you and your vision with what you're doing. Really, thank you for being a part of this platform and giving me the opportunity to help you shine and put your mission out there. And it's been a wonderful afternoon. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise, sir. It's been a real blessing having you here on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, and thank your audience for allowing me to do what I do. So I much appreciate it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Locked and Key. You've been listening to Mr. Iva Nicholas, the CEO and founder of Atia RV. You can catch him in all of his latest products on www.atia/rv.com. And thank you once again for listening. Take care. God bless and good night, everyone. Peace.